Welcome to Fargo Talks Fargo, an unofficial podcast on the FX television show. Fargo Talks Fargo is hosted by me, Bill Lempe, and my buddy Charpie. Sponsors for this season of Fargo Talks Fargo are TAG, celebrating Fargo and the Midwest community through t-shirts, art, and graphics. For more information, visit tagfargo.com. And Fargo Brewing Company's Wood Chipper India Pale Ale with its bold hop flavor and velvety body. Grab a pint or visit them online at fargobrewing.com. So here we are. We're having the inaugural podcast, Fargo Talks Fargo. I'm butterflies, dude.
Is this episode 1 or is this like episode pre?
Yeah, I know. We're trying to little logistics. It's like episode 1, pre-show 1.
All
so
right.
yeah, I think episode 3 will be episode. Oh, Jesus, I don't know. We'll figure this out. These people will be on the ride with us to figure it out as well.
Hopefully.
Well, this week we have a special guest with us. His name is Joe Riley.
Hello.
And Joe is also a Fargo resident. But Joe and Charpie also run another side venture called grillingaddiction.com. And we had a little podcast I helped produce with them called What's Grillin'. So it's nice to get us back together for the first time in what feels like a year.
It's been a long time.
Way too long. Stuff happens.
Getting back into the grind now.
Yeah, here we are. And now there's a TV show about Fargo, except it's not about Fargo. It's just called Fargo because Bemidji sounds like a shitty show name.
It's a good excuse to get back together, though, and get this rolling again. I'm excited for the show.
Oh, me too.
I loved the movie. I loved all the trailers that have been coming out. I'm excited for this. I love anything Coen Brothers. I love the worlds they create. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, was that like this show is going to be just like a quick one-off here just to let you know what's going on, what we're going to talk about. We thought we'd talk a little bit about the movie tonight and the trailers. Yeah, they've been killing it, putting out the trailers and social media, and then we'll talk a little bit about our sponsors on the show that are great and they're helping us out. We'll interrupt you twice during every podcast with those two people. And then, we'll hash it out a little, and then we hope you guys will interact with us on Facebook and Twitter and any other way you want to get in touch with us.
Yeah, the great thing is that right now we're kind of in no man's land. We've seen some trailers. We've seen some trailers. We've seen some teasers and stuff like that, but nobody's seen the show yet in terms of like the public as a whole. So we're kind of winging it. We're gonna be talking about the movie, like Bill said, and we'll just kind of all go at this together.
They released that 7 minutes today.
Oh, I couldn't decide if I wanted to watch it.
Which I had to as soon as I saw that it was out there. Which what you were saying before that I watched it through Yahoo. I'm not sure if it was.
Yeah, I couldn't tell.
It seemed like maybe they weren't supposed to release it, or they were. But
I just couldn't decide if I watched it, if it would just get me too excited. Like, stop humping my leg.
It did. It got me excited. Sorry, Charpie. It got me excited because.
Jesse Spano excited?
I so excited. I clicked on it right away and watched it, and I caught myself as I was watching it, like I wanted to keep watching it. Like, in a way, I knew you guys were going to be doing this podcast and everything, and I was like, okay, if I watch this and I'm not excited by the show, then But I watched it, and even though it was just 7 minutes, it was really good, and I'm really excited because I feel like it's completely different from the movie in the sense that it's a different story being told, but at the same time, it's the same world, it's the same feel. It's very well done. It looks like. So.
Yeah, and it opens with that same like car scene, different. It's at night. Well, then again, the Fargo the movie opens with, I don't know what time of day you call that, blowing snow, gray, depressing.
That's like all day until night, which starts at like 4 o'clock.
Yeah, then it gets dark. I have to admit, I saw the deer pop out, and all I thought was my mom would be like, "Wear your seatbelt, watch for deer." That happens all the time. And I was like, oh, that's normal. Deer on the road, no big deal.
It did look exactly real. Like driving down the highway around here, what you would see is all of a sudden just those deer pop out and you're like, oh shit,
I would say that none of us here would go off the road that easy.
No, that's one thing I did think of is I was like, what, he's not watching for deer?
I think that's also a part of the character because clearly this guy is going to be an outsider. I have a feeling he's going to be an outsider in this community, and that sort of brings in the chaos. So perhaps, that is true to his characters. He's driving this like giant Buick or something and doesn't know how to handle it.
I'll be curious to see where they put him from, like how far out of the Midwest.
Well, and you're talking about...
are they going to put in... He's from St. Louis Park.
Billy Bob Thornton's character.
Yeah, Lauren Malvo. It'll be interesting to see. I know so many people have been freaking out about Martin Freeman, hearing him not be British or a Hobbit.
I've always wondered that, like you watch Walking Dead and Andrew Lincoln's British and a bunch of people are British and they come up with an American accent. But I would imagine like the Southern accent or just kind of the stereotypical American accent, not to say would be easy, but, I would bet you've heard that enough to where you could at least, have an idea of what to do. Right. But I would imagine that the Scandinavian, upper Midwest, Chicago to, the UP of Michigan through Minnesota to hear that accent would be, I don't know. I guess I think it seems like it would be hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, we probably should just broach that topic right away. Accents, I think we'll probably follow this up on another show,
or maybe people accents,
from accents, and we'll figure it out. We'll talk about it. I mean, because all three of us
hear it.
Three of us on the podcast right now for this episode, we were all born here in Fargo.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is how we talk.
This is how we talk, and you will hear. I actually self-admittedly have a relatively bad accent speaking for people from this area. I mean, there are a lot of people in northern Minnesota that are a lot worse than me, but what you hear from me is about as bad as it gets around Fargo. So I'll say that.
Yeah, but once you get like 10 miles out, you're pretty much in the thick of it.
That's true.
For the next 500 miles.
I guess,
I've seen a few guys at Denny's though, really doing it. I'm just realizing how many times I've saying,
nose, that's for sure.
I'm not trying. It's just happening. But let's in keeping in line with that, let's take a little peek here at one of the trailers.
So you're asking me to kill this man?
No, I was joking.
Yes or no? Let him know you're still an ape.
Hubba bubba.
Dead man in frozen
I don't know anyone here who says hubba
Watching
bubba.
Our P's and Q's. Squinting?
Hubba bubba.
Sorry, just browsed.
God, this cast is phenomenal.
It's blackmail.
That's a pretty specific number.
Fargo.
Yeah.
FX original series.
See, now I'm all
Tuesday,
excited
April
and shit.
15th.
It's gonna happen, man.
I'm actually.
I don't get why you're so
amazed by the
worried
cast.
about being excited. Like, what happens when Bill Lemke gets excited?
Oh my God, you're not here anymore. You moved off to Colorado because
you're not in the same room with him.
You couldn't handle winter. Yeah,
I picture you filling up like a baby pool of Lucky Charms and just like doing snow angels in a pool of Lucky Charms.
Lucky Charms and Jameson.
Oh
Yeah.
No, that is the breakfast of champions.
Yeah.
I will say, Scrunions. I'm curious to see. I'm reading a little bit too much into this. I did notice that there was the Oliver Platt sequence in that trailer that's Fargo-cast that FX put out, and it's Oliver Platt there. And it's like the way he's sitting for whatever company it is. It says looks like he's got a crown on, and then on one side of his head it says K, and the other side it says G. And all I kept thinking about was Kevin Garnett playing for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and that he left. And I was like, "There's just something else at work there," because it's set up too well to look that great with Oliver Platt just sitting in the middle, talking to Lauren.
Well, when you
Melvo
have
there.
the Coen brothers, that's one thing about their quirky style and they're producing. They're not directing as they did in the movie, but they bring along with them a style that has like so many nuances. If there's fans out there of the movie Fargo, but like things like The Big Lebowski, Hudsucker Proxy, those types of films.
Market Zero.
Yeah, the more you watch them, the more of those tiny nuances you catch, and that's why they become cult classics, because they just keep they get better with age. You just keep noticing more and more things like that. It gets so in depth. The things that are going on in the background in Fargo and The Big Lebowski with like the clips in the bowling alley in The Big Lebowski, and same goes with Fargo. There's TVs in the background playing certain things that are usually nods to people that the Coen brothers are a fan of, or something within the culture at the time, or just like tiny sort of underlying themes throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
I think that's why when you see a trailer or a clip or a movie or anything, and you know that the Coen brothers are involved, you immediately start to look for those little details, because they've thought about every aspect of that shot, of that scene, of the way the characters are interacting, where they're eating. And there's a lot of people from up here that maybe didn't necessarily like the movie Fargo because they thought it was making fun of us. I still love the movie. Well,
people naturally get defensive,
but I think that the Coen brothers style is one that's like, even when they're doing these dark comedies or dramas or whatever, they've always got that hint and touch of goofiness.
Yeah, like even at a dark moment, you're like, oh, geez.
Yeah, it's still funny. Oh,
I just said, oh, geez. This is all.
Now
this
I
is
don't
all,
know if
this,
you're doing
this,
it on purpose
no,
or if
this
you're
is
just
this is
subconscious.
completely subliminal. Like all my inner Fargo is just coming out, just like oozing out of my Irish pores. But I mean, yeah, you're totally right about that. I mean, they just like, even in the darkest moment, there's like great little glimpses of humor and that kind of stuff. That's what I love about the Coen brothers. That's why I've watched The Big Lebowski a million times, and why I still never see a balloon without thinking about Raising Arizona. And we were talking about this pre-show that it's, there's a line, I'm going to screw it up. Some movie buff will correct me. I'm sure that's fine. But the guy, the character, I forget his name, is at the, he's at a convenience store or whatever buying balloons, and he's like, well, they come in funny shapes, and the guy says, well, if round's funny. I mean, it seems like such a simple thing, but it's just, it's like that kind of like subtle, dry humor that, to me, really is like a tribute to not a tribute, but just the fact that they're both from the Twin Cities, and that they kind of come from this Minnesota nice area, and they tie those kinds of things into characters like that. Yeah.
And another classic nod that the Coen brothers worked into the movie. If you notice that in the kidnapper's cabin, now there's going to be details we're talking about. We obviously just watched the movie
Sorry
Fargo
about that,
again.
Charpie. Me and Joe just cracked open a Fargo Brewing Company wood chipper. India Pale Ale. Sorry, go ahead. Go back to that cabin thing you were talking about while Joe and I imbibe this delicious IPA brewed right here in Fargo.
Well, I'm sipping on a Caribou coffee. Does that count? That's Minnesota nice.
Yes.
There you go.
Whatever. Okay. A classic example of one of their Coen brothers style nods is that in the kidnapper's cabin, there's a TV on, and there's sort of a fuzzy screen. They're trying to figure out the picture. The fuzzy screen is actually showing Bruce Campbell, who's an actor that had worked with the Coen brothers on the Hudsucker Proxy and a couple of other things. But they include those types of things. They name characters after people they like. What was one of those? They named after Bob Lundegaard. Oh, Lundegaard's his name. Yeah. He's named after the film critic from Minnesota.
Yeah. That and these names that they've got for the for the cast this season, like Greta Grimley. A little bit of me wanted to be like, man, are you stealing from like Stan Lee doing the Peter Parker, Greta Grimley? You got Lauren Malvo, Lester Nygaard, Gus Grimley.
I think they actually
Molly Solverson
opened up a Fargo phone book and we're like, okay, yeah.
Oh, by the way,
the Nygaard one is perfect.
That
it's pretty spot on.
Well, one thing that really excited me about this too was that in some of the trailers and the behind the scenes stuff that's been coming out, they said that they're in a Coen Brothers world and that they're not doing a TV series; they're doing a 10-hour movie. And I think a lot of shows are going that way now, and that's why they're so successful. Like I think of like Breaking Bad and things like that. And it's like that's just a really long movie, and I'm just dying every week to get back there and see.
But Breaking Bad though, that was multiple seasons. I think, and a lot of people have been making that correlation to like True Detective on HBO.
Yeah, exactly.
How it's like, it's a TV show. Yeah, but it's really like a 7.5 hour movie. And the same thing kind of goes for, I can't remember where it was. I read it on a website, and I feel kind of bad that I don't remember. I was going to try to put it in the show rundown where there was a little bit of talk about, and I mean, I'm not going to get into this too early, the Emmy nomination stuff, but they were talking about some TV shows, like putting like American Horror Story up against other shows that have to create and like maintain characters through 5 seasons, like, or not just 5, but whatever, multiple seasons, like Mad Men. They can't just be like, well, screw it, Don Draper, you're done. We're going to replace the entire cast, and they're saying that it's not necessarily, it's not a mini series. Like American Horror Story is not a mini series, but at the same time, they're like running this stuff up against like
a lot of shows.
And I'm not saying it's disposable either.
That.
I'm saying I love this kind of stuff. This like long arcing kind of thing where you don't have to resolve every episode like Law and Order style, and then like, oh well, I guess that guy beat him up with the pipe.
I think we've fallen into just a beautiful new format, and it's really exciting where filmmakers are beginning to take on these television shows because they're not committing to 5 seasons, and they're not like constantly worried about getting the axe right away. You can just do these short things where you have the time to do some character development that it's the time that you always dreamed of, but you couldn't pull off in 90 minutes. Well, now you can start to develop those characters out and start to pull out those feelings that you've always wanted, but just through a different format, a format that's being widely accepted, and it doesn't run the risk of getting watered down, like say like a Prison Break.
Right.
And where it's just like you continue. It's like the Prison Break effect. It's like you just continually are breaking out of prison for years and years and years, and you're never getting out. It's just like you're stuck, and it becomes terrible. Like at first, the first couple seasons are exciting. Well, it only has to be a couple seasons.
Yeah, it's like they only thought of it for one season, and then all of a sudden they were like, "Oh crap! They picked us up for a 3rd season. What now?"
When I originally watched,
I'm really gonna have to get the hell out of jail.
I had not heard of it, and it came on like a Sunday night, like, and I just figured it was like a made-for-TV Sunday night movie like they used to have. I was like, I'll watch this Prison Break movie. Well, and it was like because it was like a 2-hour-long show, so I'm like, must be the Sunday night movie. So I'm watching it, and you're an hour and 45 minutes in, you're like, wow, we are not getting close to breaking out of this prison. And it ended, and they weren't close. And I was like, well, what the heck? That's when I realized, because they do like the next episode, teaser. And that's when I was like, oh my God, this is a show. Well, that sort of feeling prefaced the entire season or the entire run of the show. Because it was just like, you're never getting anywhere.
So I like this new style, and I agree with Charpie that we're in kind of a new area of entertainment. I mean, it's almost like television. I mean, look at House of Cards, the way that they're operating. I would say it's the same thing. Each episode just leaves you, wanting to continue watching rather than coming to a final conclusion each episode.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that's curious about that too is, I mean, I really even get to it, and you get to like some of these BBC shows like Sherlock, where it's like there's 3 episodes in a series. And that's what they kind of call that a season. But I mean, there's 3, and everyone's like, "Oh, there's only 3." And I'm like, "Yeah, but each one is like an hour and a half." Like,
right.
And on top of it, it's
a full
awesome.
movie,
It's
no commercials.
It's awesome. And then, or like Luther, or shows like that with Idris Elba that are just like, in my opinion, they're just incredible. But I'm pretty stoked to hear this thing come out. I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to play a little clip here because I have to admit, this is one of the guys I'm most interested to hear. I'm going to try. I think this is his clip. I'm like doing this on the fly, so.
Ready for dinner. Seemed ashamed to barf it up.
I'm not going to lie,
problem,
man.
I heard. You don't say. I heard drugs.
I heard he slept with a 13.
For Pete's sake, Bob, don't spread rumors. No, it was gambling.
It was gambling. It was that.
I'm glad my husband's dead.
Anyway, I mean, like,
I'm
I'm
at his
not going to lie.
funeral.
I'm really, really excited to see Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah.
And then just like, when that trailer came out, for some reason I thought, oh, it'd be a shame to throw it up.
Yeah, it'd be a shame to barf it up.
Yeah, thank you. That's right. I had it wrong. It would that was one of the most, like, that statement felt so true.
Yeah.
To me, to like overall like church basement funeral Midwest mentality.
So did that. I could so hear so many of my friends' moms in that clip where the one says, hey, now don't go spreading rumors.
And then
I heard it was gambling. You know, it's just like that's how people are.
I heard he strangled a puppy, and that's the kind of shit that happens.
It is that.
I mean, like it's like, oh, well, be nice. You know, the Minnesota nice thing that they talk about.
Yep.
And
be nice,
that same
but
thing.
then
you know,
at the same time, I'm going to tell my best friend what I really think.
yeah,
you know?
deep down, though, you know, I heard he likes squirrels. No big deal. Hey, Matt, we should probably take a little sponsor break here to talk about the fine folks who are helping make this podcast happen here in town.
Yeah, we can do that. Let's just get right into that. This week's episode brought to you in part by Wood Chipper India Pale Ale from Fargo Brewing Company. And that is no joke. I'm not doing like a parody or anything. Fargo Brewing Company does make a Wood Chipper IPA. They do brew it in Fargo. Enjoy 2 pounds per barrel of dry hops from this beautifully balanced IPA, bringing in a velvety body alongside waves of citrus and pine. We'd give our left foot for a pint. I don't know.
Oh,
there it is.
Damn. Look at
good.
you, son, working that in.
Also brought to you by Tag, celebrating the true Fargo community with true Fargo swag, t-shirts, art, merch, and more, available to purchase anytime online. You can just visit fargotalksfargo.com for more details on those two sponsors. But very, very big thanks to Fargo Brewing Company's Wood Chipper IPA and Tag.
Yeah. Those guys are great that have been helping this up. I mean, like, so if you come to the region or whatever, go to fargobrewing.com and find out more about those guys. Or even just go to fargotalksfargo.com and you'll be able to find links to like our two sponsors. These guys are sponsoring the entire season of this podcast. And they have great beer. And if you're traveling here to check it out and come see Fargo and take your picture in front of the Fargo Theater like everybody does. By the way, which inside the Fargo Theater, there is a huge carved out of like with a chainsaw or something like that. A huge, do you remember, what is it? Is it chainsawed? Is that what it is or not? You guys know?
Which one? The wood chipper?
Nope. The wood chipper's out at the Convention and Visitors Bureau outside. Okay. Anyone can grab a photo with that any time of day.
Buffalo?
No, they have a huge.
I don't know. I'm just going there.
No. There's on the second on the bison on the second. Oh, geez, yeah. On the second floor, there's on the second floor. There's a carved out of like a single piece of like a tree is a giant statue of Marge that I don't know. I think it was MGM, right, that produced Fargo, one of the companies. They like gifted it to them. God, I feel like we should have this kind of shit
carved out
straight.
of a single piece of tree.
Thank you, man. Thanks. Anyway, so they're doing that, but yeah, you check out Fargo Brewing, and the other thing is, Tag's got some pretty
fantastic shirts.
They got some really fantastic like shirts that are made with Midwest humor, and some of them aren't like Fargo related. There's plenty of other things, but
if you liked the movie Fargo, you'll definitely like their shirts.
I particularly
series, I should say.
I particularly like the onesie that they make for children with a big combine on it that says "My dad feeds your dad." Yeah, there's farms here.
Yeah, check them out.
So
head to fargotalksfargo.com and we'll have more information about those guys. You can also check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/fargotalksfargo, right?
Yes, sir. So with all these trailers they're putting out, I mean, like, I wish I would have found the article and I couldn't find it right before we started shooting. Jeez, we're not even doing any of that.
Too much wood chipper.
No, this video thing is killing me because we can see Matt, he can see us, and no, FX is doing just a phenomenal job of like killing this thing socially, like marketing wise. They're getting a lot of stuff. People are really interested. They're releasing. I mean, like, I can't honestly, and maybe it's not even just the fact that we're doing this show. It's the fact that there's so many people talking about little pieces that's going on, and I think this really kind of comes back to the whole thing that there's like the Coen brothers, even though they got a hand in this thing, but they've just created this world of movies and stuff that people are really into, and I really think this TV show is going to strike a chord. It's going to be great. It's going to be so fun to watch, and it's going to have like little bits of humor where the guy's like scrunyon and then he shoots somebody in the face, evidently, and it's like, oh, that's not funny, but it's well.
They've created their own universe, they being the Coen brothers, and this is an extension of that, and it's almost like the Tarantino universe. Where everything kind of feels connected in its own little way.
Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
They've got definitely their own niche.
I keep thinking it's just so interesting. All the all the little trailer, 30-second trailers, 1 minute and stuff, I keep thinking, wow, it's they keep showing gray area for Minnesota,
right,
like in the winter.
I like too with the trailers. They're showing you just enough. I hate it when trailers come out and they give away way too much. So many movie trailers that come out now show everything good about the movie, and then you get there and it's like, oh,
you're like,
okay,
forget it.
so
I already saw
that was
the movie.
the best 5 minutes I saw of the entire movie.
Film trailers have gotten so bad in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And
if I know there's a movie out there that I'm going to want to watch, and another one is a Coen Brothers movie, The Inside Llewyn Davis.
Yeah.
I've been avoiding that trailer because I don't want to see a second of it until I'm sitting and watching that movie.
Which I will say, that trailer that I have seen for Inside Llewyn Davis, that doesn't give away much.
I'm still
wondering. What I'm wondering is if they've figured it out. The art of the trailer, giving you just enough to get interested and want to see it, by kind of giving you a glimpse into this world that they've created without giving away too much of the story. So I don't know. That's kind of what I think they've been doing with these little tiny 30-second, 1 minute kind of clips that they've been showing. You see Billy Bob Thornton with this stupid, goofy haircut. And like Bill was saying, the gray winter.
Everything just looks so bland, but I think, well,
that's what it's like. I mean, everything here is bland in the winter. It's awful.
Well, it's that, and I was just like, oh, it's a casserole.
It's bland in a lot of ways. Yeah,
it's like
bland and
it's
white.
like, oh, not only does our weather look like that, but everything that people cook in a 9.5 by 11 dish is covered with Campbell's cream of mushroom soup. That's pretty bland too.
Yeah, really, this should be
sponsored by... Oh, did you put some
by...
pepper in there? It's spicy.
Holy cow, that thing, my tongue is just, it's incredible.
This thing should be sponsored by crock pots and cream of mushroom soup.
Jesus.
Maybe we can get that.
Well, hey, aim for shoot for the stars, right?
And the stars are cream of mushrooms.
It's Campbell's cream of mushroom.
Yeah.
The ultimate win.
No, I think this is, I mean, I hope this is giving people just kind of a glimpse into what we're planning on doing here and how this is going to go. And we welcome any feedback as we get going. So, you can visit us like Charpie told you on Facebook, and we're on Twitter at Fargo Talks Fargo, or you can email us, keep the hate mail to a minimum. You can email us at podcast@fargotalksfargo.com. We'll also get that. But if you suck, we won't bring it up. We'll just ignore you. How's that for Minnesota nice? You know why? Because this is North Dakota. Fargo's in North Dakota. We're the confused city that doesn't know where we stand.
I'll be curious to pay attention to the Midwestern nuances. Like, we'll see if they measure distance in time and things like that.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, I know the whole thing's pretty much, it seems like, is going to take place in winter, which is fine. It creates a place and time. And,
well, just take a look at our Facebook page at facebook.com/Fargo Talks Fargo, and you'll see an image of Fargo.
Yeah, and that's we didn't
special
get that.
Thanks to Scott Thune.
Yeah, from Thune Studios. That's one of my office mates. He took that photo. That's actually our state/area.
I was like, can you go get the whitest photo possible?
It's just white.
Boom.
Well, with that, I think we'll wrap it up here tonight. We're planning on, we're going to do one more preseason show. We're going to see what they come out with, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it. We're going to discuss a few other things going on with the show, so that you can kind of like ramp into the TV show with us. And then every week after the episode airs, we're going to record another show. We're going to talk about what happened.
Yep.
We welcome any interaction from you so that we can turn around and hopefully open each show with a little opening, and then eventually run back around to telling people, oh, I thought this was going to happen, and this is what we talked about last week, and every week we're going to talk about more stuff. So got to thank Joe Riley from grillingaddiction.com for showing up.
Yeah, I hope to be back.
Next week, I can tell you that you should tune in. We're going to have John Lamb from the Forum of Fargo Moorhead with us. The paper here in town is going to come on and talk a little bit with us. And we've got plenty of other guests lined up to hang out with us. And
pretty exciting.
Talk. Yeah, it's going to be, I really hope you guys come back and listen every week. We're going to really enjoy doing this, and it's going to be fun. And I just, talking about doing this, my wife was like, what if the show sucks?
Well, that's kind of what I was saying is before all this started, is I was like, okay, I'm really interested to see the 7-minute trailers and all these different things that are coming out. And I was like, geez, I hope I like them. Oh, geez, I really hope I like them.
Dang.
But, and so far I'm impressed. I think it's going to be a great show. So
it's going to be fantastic. We hope you tune in and stick around with us and hear more as the show progresses. And thanks again to Fargo Brewing.
Hell yeah.
Check them out. And thanks again as well to Tag.
That's right.
Joe Riley, thank you so much for being here, man. We really appreciate it.
Thanks,
and
man.
you guys have a great night, and we'll see you next week.
Alrighty.